I've coached for over 10,000 hours. This is the coaching session format that works repeatedly. One caveat though, everyone coaches differently. If you don't like a particular step, skip it. Just don't complain later that it didn't work. This is the best model to use to structure your coaching sessions because, as we all know it, I'm the best. I'll share a simple 7-step framework. It'll turn, and I hope this works, into I know what I'm doing and it will work. So let's start with the first step. The first step is build a connection with your client. Before you dive into any deep work, take a few minutes to connect with your client. Think of this like warming up before a big game. It's all about making them feel comfortable, making them feel open. If you worked with them before, check in on something you talked about last time. Maybe they shared a goal or told you about a project. Say something like, hey, last time you mentioned about working on the goal. How's that going? Now, this is also the time to share any relevant life events. Example could be, I was reminded of you when, or remember we talked about this thing and then this happened. A connection is more meaningful if it relates to a session. Make it more personal, but don't overshare. You can make it more personal by commenting on a recent trip they posted about or a photo of their dog they might have posted about. Try, I saw that photo of your dog. Looks like a lot of fun. These little moments show you care. You're not just their coach, you're someone who listens, who remembers, and who genuinely cares. Remember, clients often come to sessions carrying a lot of stress or even doubt. Taking this time helps them relax into the session. When they're relaxed, they're a lot more open. And when they're open, well, they're ready to learn, ready to talk, ready to make real progress. So start with a few minutes of genuine connection. It'll set the stage for a session that's clear, it's calm, and it is full of purpose. For the spiritual ones here, yes, you can start with a couple of breaths and close eyes and some magical ways to help them calm down. Just remember, it's not everyone's cup of tea. So know your client before you invite them to talk to their fairies. Which brings us to the second step, and it is to set clear goals for the session. Once there is some connection, it's time to set some clear goals for today's sessions. This helps you and your client stay focused and avoid drifting off track. Without a goal, it's easy to feel like you're going in circles. When you set a goal, you both focus on achieving something real in your time together. Sometimes clients will come in with what seems like a simple problem. They might just say, I want to stop procrastinating. And it sounds straightforward, right? But procrastination is often just the tip of the iceberg. It is the sign of something deeper. This is where the problem matrix comes into play. The problem matrix helps you dig deeper to find the real reason behind the issue. So this is how it would work. Start by asking, what's the ultimate outcome we want to achieve here? It prompts the client to think deeper. Instead of just stop procrastinating, they might say, I want to get things done when I say I will. Now you aim for a positive, meaningful outcome, not just to stop a habit. Next, use the problem matrix to ask questions. What you're really looking for is what is the problem? What is the cause? And what is the outcome that they're really looking for? So once you have identified the problem and you know what the outcome that they are chasing, what you want to find is the cause of this problem. So you know the problem they had was procrastination. The outcome they want is they want to stay with whatever they said they're going to do. And the cause is what we are yet to discover. So what we are now searching for is the cause. So you might ask, why do you think you're putting things off? Or what's stopping you from taking action? These questions can lead to different answers. For example, I don't know where to start, or I'm overwhelmed by this task. With these answers, you and the client can figure out what's truly getting in their way. If they say, I don't know where to start, it may be a knowledge gap. They aren't sure how to break down the task, so it feels too big to tackle. If they say, I don't feel motivated, it might be a motivational gap. They don't see a strong reason to start, and so they just avoid it. The problem matrix allows you to dig deeper until you find the root cause of the issue. So if today's goal is to help them with procrastination, don't just say, stop procrastinating. Break it down and ask, what's stopping you? How can we make this easier to start? This way, you're not just fixing the surface problem, you're helping them solve the real barriers they face. If the issue is knowledge gap, you might help the client by creating a checklist. It will show them that the task is doable, and if they take one step at a time, they actually can achieve what they're setting out to achieve. If the issue is motivation, explore why the task matters. Also, show how completing it could help them reach a bigger goal they may be genuinely caring about. Using the problem matrix to identify the underlying challenge will allow you to set a clear goal for the session. This will already set up your session for success, as your client will have the clarity and tools to tackle whatever is holding them back. When they leave, they won't be thinking, I need to stop procrastinating. They're thinking, now I know what's stopping me and I have a plan to handle it. And that's when they feel real progress. One session at a time. Which brings me to the third step. And the third step is where coaching really starts. Now that you've figured out the root of the problem, it's time to start working on it. The first step is coaching the mind. Everything we do, whether it's facing a problem or finding a solution, starts with our minds. The way a client thinks about their issue can make it feel huge or can make it feel manageable. If they see it as this giant, unsolvable problem, it's going to feel heavy. But if they see it as a challenge they can tackle, it feels lighter, it feels easier. Let's take a common example. A client says, I procrastinate because I don't know what to do. Right now, their mind is focused on, I don't know, so I can't. So it's something like this. You have a client and they are saying, I don't know what to do, right? So that's what the client is saying. Now, based on this, what you may find is your client may say, I don't know what to do because I just can't figure it out. I don't know. And that would put them in a state. Or they could be asking that this is also a reason why I can learn. Based on what their response is going to be, based on what they tell themselves, they would take completely different stances in their life. If they think they can't, they will often be stuck. If they think they can learn, they will often be curious. Now, this shift is powerful. Suddenly, they go from feeling stuck to feeling curious. Now, it's not about what they can't do, it's about what they can learn. And learning feels so much more possible. Instead of a wall blocking them, they see a door they can open. This one change in thought can make a big difference in how they approach their goals. To guide them through this, start by asking how they see their situation. Ask questions like, how do you feel about this problem? Or what do you believe is stopping you? These questions help them notice their current thoughts. Once they answer, it's time to help them explore new ways of thinking. Ask questions like, what's another way to look at this? And if you thought about this in a different way, how would things change? These questions prompt them to consider some new viewpoints. Here's how it works. If the client says, I don't know, so I can't, they're seeing the problem as a dead end. But if they try thinking, I don't know, so I can ask, or I can look it up, they're creating possibilities. Now they have choices. They could ask a friend, they could search online, they could find a mentor. Instead of a single fixed thought, they have options they can choose from. Finally, help them compare these new thoughts with their old thoughts. Ask something like, which of these new thoughts feels more helpful for reaching your goal? Now, they're not stuck with one limiting thought. They're choosing a new way to think that helps them move forward. This shift in mindset builds confidence. They're not just hoping for change, they're creating it from the inside out. When a client leaves the session with a new mindset, they feel stronger. They know they're not trapped by their old way of thinking. Instead, they're open to new possibilities. These new possibilities will help them move forward step by step. And that brings me to the fourth step, and that is coaching behaviors. Now that your client has a new way of thinking, it's time to help them shift their behavior to match that thinking. Coaching behavior means finding new helpful actions. These usually should fit with their improved mindset. To change your client's behavior, you must identify the habits they revert to when things get tough. It means helping them choose a new response when times are difficult. Let's say your client used to think, I don't know where to start, so I'll just avoid it. This led to some behaviors like procrastination and binge watching TV or a Netflix show. It also led to scrolling on social media endlessly. These are all dopamine hits that make you feel good very little good is actually done in these moments. These actions might feel like quick fixes, but they don't solve anything. They actually kept the client stuck. Avoiding things didn't help them reach their goals, it just made the problem last longer. With their new mindset, I don't know, but I can learn, you can now help them imagine behaviors that would support it. Ask them, if you believe you can learn what to do, what would your new behavior look like? They might suggest a better response. For example, they might say, I might set up a workplace, gather some information about this, or do a small part of the task instead of procrastinating and thinking this task is so big. Help them see the difference between these two behaviors. Say, when you avoid things, you feel stuck. But with this new approach, you are doing something to move forward. It's important they see that behaviors aren't just actions. They are choices that show how they feel about themselves and their abilities. By choosing behaviors that align with their new mindset, they're learning to act in ways that support their growth. This step is all about helping the client see that every small change in behavior can make a big difference. Instead of using habits that hold them back, they can build new ones. These should match the progress they want to make. Changing behavior isn't just about doing something that's different. It's about choosing actions that keep them on their chosen path. Which brings me to the fifth step, and that is coaching for actions. Your client has a new thought process and some new behaviors. Now let's focus on actions. What will they do to make the progress? This step is to help your client turn their new mindset and supportive behaviors into real, doable actions. Actions are what turn good ideas into great results. To begin, ask your client, what were you doing before when you had the old behavior? For example, if they avoided tasks, they might say, I would scroll through Instagram, or I'd watch TV instead of working, or I'd clean instead of tackling my project. These actions might have felt like they were busy, but they were actually ways to avoid the real work. They kept the client in a loop of avoidance without any real progress. Now, with their new behavior and improved mindset, it's time to brainstorm actions that match. Ask, what actions make sense with this new approach? If they see challenges as opportunities to learn, they might say things like, I'll spend 20 minutes each day researching, or I'll create a list of small tasks to tackle today. These clear, manageable actions will boost their confidence and help them get started right away. Next, have them compare their old and new actions. Let me show you how. So let's imagine there was an old behavior that your client had, right? And there's a new behavior that your client now has. Now, if we can insert some new actions in your client's life, what will happen is these new actions become the bridge that allow you to go from your old behavior to your new behavior. Ask them which of these actions that have been listed brings you closer to your goal. This comparison can be really powerful. It helps them see how the old actions were actually holding them back and how the new actions actually help them move forward. They see that researching or making a task list is helpful, but scrolling or watching Netflix endlessly are just distractions. Next, help them set a commitment to these new actions. Say something like, would you be open to practicing these new actions for the next week? Giving them a short time frame, like a week, helps keep it manageable and less overwhelming. They don't have to change everything at once. They're just trying some new actions, seeing what works, and they're building confidence in themselves and these new actions. This way, clients feel more ready to tackle the challenge. They leave with clear, specific actions that match their new mindset and their new behaviors. They are not just talking about change, they are putting it into practice. These small, steady steps help them see the real progress, which is much more possible and is within their reach. Which brings me to the sixth step, and that is to notice the key takeaways. At this point in the session, it's time to lock in the key takeaways. The step is vital as it ensures your client remembers their insights and feels ready to take action. Here's how to make sure they leave with those important lessons. Start by asking your client, what are the main takeaways from today's session? The simple question encourages them to reflect on what stood out, whether it's a new mindset, a change in behavior, or a specific action step. It helps solidify their progress and increases the likelihood that they'll carry it forward. Once they share their key points, go over their answers with them. Make sure they haven't missed anything that's important. You might say, let's go over these key points and see if there's anything else to add. This allows you to gently remind them of any valuable insights they might have overlooked. This way, they're fully capturing all the value from the session. Finally, encourage them to write down these takeaways. Suggest take a few minutes to jot these down so you can have something to refer back to. By having a written record, they can revisit their insights and maintain motivation as they work on their goals. This list of key takeaways is like a roadmap from your session. It keeps them on track, it keeps them motivated, it keeps them connected to their progress. It's a small but powerful step that reinforces everything they've learned and sets them up for success. Which brings me to the seventh step, which is to follow up. The final step is probably one of the most essential for keeping your clients on track between sessions, and that is to follow up. After all the great work you've done together, this step reinforces their changes and ensures they continue to progress. Follow up is about providing support after the session, an extra boost to help them stay consistent. Start by asking, how can I help you stay on track with today's goals? This question invites them to think about any extra support they might need. Maybe they would like the benefit from a quick check-in midweek or even a simple reminder on email. Sometimes all it takes is knowing someone is checking in to keep them motivated. Research shows that about 60% of people are more likely to follow through when they feel accountable to someone else. When clients are trying to break old habits and build new ones, continuous support can make a huge difference. Some clients might need only one follow-up. Others might need ongoing support as they build momentum. For example, if they're working on reducing procrastination, they might not see huge results in just 1 week. However, small steps like writing a few pages or sticking to a new routine can help them feel more capable. Follow-up helps maintain the steady progress and highlights their small wins. Encourage your clients to keep you updated, whether through check-ins or self-tracking their progress. This process helps them recognize even minor improvements and reinforces the value of their efforts. Remind them that real change takes time and that every small step counts. With follow-up, you're helping them build a consistency that leads to lasting results. All right, that's the full framework. First is build connection, set some real goals, coach the mind, coach their behaviors, coach actions, mark key takeaways, and follow up. This is every step, every part of what makes a coaching session powerful and purposeful. Imagine what this can do, not just for your clients, but for you as a coach. With these 7 steps, you're not just guiding your clients, you're helping them make real changes, session after session. And that's what coaching is all about, making a difference that lasts. If you want a coaching planner to go with this, it's below this video. When you're ready and want to learn how to coach anyone really, I have a masterclass for you, also linked below. And thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this and commit to becoming a better coach. Now take these steps and create sessions that are truly life-changing for you and for every person you coach. You've got this.